Guns up, giddy up. Good morning. I'm not Eric. I'm Deadleg. Eric, we sent bail money out for him, but unfortunately, the bail money didn't get there in time, so he's still in jail. I'm just kidding. He has got a meeting this morning with Dan Bongino. Let me mute myself on the other thing. So he's got a meeting this morning with Nick Palmisano. They are going to talk about Eric's book that is coming out this year. It's coming out this fall. It is Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story by Eric Tansey. I'm telling you, I have an advanced reader's copy, which, first of all, if you got a friend that's writing a book, that's a cool thing to have. Secondly, I got an advanced reader's copy. So I've read quite a few of these stories already. I can't put it down. My mother-in-law and I want to read it together because mom's learning English, and this would be a fun way to introduce her into American culture, I think. But I can't stop reading it. I can't stop putting it down. So what you need to do is go to Amazon or go to whatever bookstore you go to and go ahead and get the pre-order, get it in now. One thing that the pre-order does help with, these numbers legitimately do. Here in a couple of weeks, there's going to be meetings, and they're going to look at these numbers, and those numbers help out, and they look and they say, hey, these numbers are really good. We can justify actually spending a lot of money and doing all of this stuff to push them out so we can get Eric to go on this great big book tour, and we can get him on Dan Bongino. We can get him on with Sean Ryan, and get him on with Joe Rogan, get him on MSNBC and all the morning talk shows and all that stuff. So go over to Amazon, wherever you go to pre-order your book or to get your books and pre-order. I do believe he is going to be reading the audio version. I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know that for sure. We have been trying to kind of egg him on to do that he himself should read it. But I'm C-. We're not exaggerating here when we say C-, C-. So reading comprehension, it may take us a few years to get through the reading, but we want him to read it. That's going to be coming out this year. Also, can't forget about GhostBed, ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Get you a sleep so good it's scary. GhostBed's offering 50% off. And I tell you, when Eric got the massage topper last year, we prep for the shows, and sometimes we're come in and we have an hour, 2 hours prep, and we're way prep for the shows. And sometimes we come in for the shows and we have zero prep. As soon as he got that massage topper, it didn't matter whether we had so much prep or no prep at all. He came in here, no stress, zero stress. And I'm one of those people that I'm kind of analytical. I look and see what's something that I can put my finger on that's a definitive thing that if I change my life or change something about my life, that would change things better. That's one of the things I can look at. So when he got his massage topper, so the massage topper's got all of those little places in the back. You get all those little nooks and crannies and places that you didn't even think of. Yeah, I need one of those this morning. That's ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Use the code Wolfpack. It'll get you 50% off. Not only Wolfpack or GhostBed, we have Factor Meals. Factor75.com. Use promo code Wolfpack50. That will get you 50% off your first order. These things come in a box. We reuse these boxes, my wife and I. My wife's from China. She's very, how do we say that, resourceful. We like to save things. We do things to use things to no end until we can't use them nor. So we get these boxes from Factor Meals. And the boxes themselves, we reuse them because the boxes they're not frozen boxes, but they're insulated. They got this insulating foam inside of them. And then they got these freeze packs that you can refreeze and put them back in there. The meals are fresh. They're never frozen. I'm going to tell you, time is something you can't buy. Factor Meals is time in a box. Yes, it's a meal, but what you're not doing, you're not driving to the grocery store. You're not spending time finding all of the things that you want to eat. You're not putting it in the grocery cart, standing in line with all the other burger pickers. You're not pushing that cart to your car. You're not driving the car home. You're not taking the groceries in the refrigerator. You're not pulling them out of the refrigerator. You're not cooking the meal. You're not repacking it and getting all your meal prep. I had a partner that I worked with in Hawaii, and he did all his meal prepping the Sunday, the day before our big work week, and he would prep for his 2 weeks out. It's been the entire day prepping for his meals. I don't want to lose my day off. I don't want to lose any of my time off. The time is something that's invaluable. You can't get. Factor Meals helps you save time. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You don't have to pick out all these things. You don't have to worry about putting it together. Just take it out, figure out what one you want. Say, this one looks good. It's got all the ingredients on it, whether you want to be protein heavy or calorie conscious. Throw it in the microwave, 2 minutes, you're done. That's it. There's no weird, like extra little quirks or extra little asterisks. That's it. Enjoy your meal. It is an amazing meal. It's something that my wife uses. We use. It's Factor Meals, Factor 75. So what are we talking about this morning? Now we got all of that out of the way. What are we talking about this morning? The F around and find out time is kind of where we're at. I want to say, like, get your popcorn ready. I don't do popcorn because I had braces when I was in high school. So but I do croutons, but get your favorite snack ready, because I think we're going to be so fast and furious, not to like quote things, but we're going to be moving so fast. It's going to be hard to keep up. And I'm for it to an extent. We had last year, we talked about what will happen. What's going to happen if Trump gets elected? What's going to happen if Trump doesn't get elected? Well, what's going to happen if he gets elected? He's said he's going to start putting people in place to start releasing things, start showing you all the receipts. Because one of the things that you have to do in government to build trust is transparency. You want me to believe what you're saying. Okay, so you said something last time. Show me what you said. So if I told you, hey, I'm going to build this bridge over here, and then a year goes by and I take your taxes and you're paying for these taxes on this bridge, and then the next year comes by and I say, hey, I want to take your taxes again. We're going to build this new project. And we're going to, okay, wait. What happened to the taxes on the last project? I'm going to say, well, look at this bridge. This is the transparency. I'm going to show you where your money's going. So that's where he's putting Elon Musk into place for Doge, and they're going through these receipts. I personally, I'm for it. At this point, I'm at get a good seat and like kind of watch it burn, but we're not. We still have a semblance of government. We still have with good people in good places, and he's starting to put some right people in the right places. So one of the things that we're going to try to update on real quick is the FBI files with JFK. We don't have anything else. So that's the update on that. The update is there is no more update other than Kash Patel's been put in that place of in charge of the FBI. And he is got the responsibility of now coming up with a plan to release all of this stuff. If you remember, we go back, he was the specific person that we said that, hey, who has seen the JFK files? Who has seen the 9/11 files? Who has seen all of this stuff that not the general public has seen? Kash Patel has seen it. And he's told people, hey, this is what I believe that the American people need to see. So he's told us about, the JFK files and said, hey, the things that are in there, the questions that we're asking, we're not even asking the right questions. So that's a complete weird one on its own. But now we've got this guy, Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is now the deputy director of the FBI. So what I kind of want to do this morning is, when I was kind of like researching and trying to put like the facts and kind of put a couple things together, what I want to talk about what Dan Bongino is, I looked at Wikipedia, and we have looked at Wikipedia, and I use multiple different sources when we're trying to confirm or deny something. If I can get 4 or 5 different sources, and some of them are from the left and some of them are from the right, and they're all kind of saying similarly the same things, I can kind of surmise that that's kind of what's going on. If all of these people from different backgrounds can look at the same thing and kind of tell me the same picture, I can kind of tell you what's going on. But once you get these people that are outside of it and they have no idea what they're doing, but we've got Dan Bongino, and Wikipedia is hilarious. And even in this, so going down through this, Dan Bongino, his career started with NYPD. He worked with the NYPD for a while. Then he went on to the Secret Service, worked with the Secret Service for quite some time. But I would like to come down here and talk about the more recent things. So he has his podcast. He's been a talk show host he's been a commentator on the Sean Hannity show, the Mark Levin show. He was on Hannity. He started the Bongino Report, an alternative to the Drudge Report. And he's kept with this entire time. And 2021, this is where I hilariously want to just say I'm reading off of Wikipedia here. In 2021, he signed a contract to replace the Rush Limbaugh show on its radio station with Cumulus Network. Later on, he's going to get into a tit for tat with Cumulus and over the mask mandates, and then ends up coming back. And then in 2022, YouTube permanently bans him off of YouTube because he tried to circumvent a temporary suspension relating to a video questioning the efficiency of masks during the COVID-19 mask pandemic. Prior to the ban, he had already moved his podcast to Rumble. So he's banned off of YouTube for talking about something that we now know is fact. But to point that out, this guy is now the deputy director of the FBI. He's the second command of the FBI. And he was banned off of YouTube for reporting on talking about something that we know is factually true. So I want to say, I want to point out that we have now people in power, people in place that have the ability. For the last 4 years, and even before that last 4 years, we had Trump's first 4 years, and before that, you had Obama's 8 years. Kept saying, show us some transparency, show us what's really going on, show us where our tax dollars are going, show us what's really going on. No one's wanting to do that. Now we're in a position where we can kind of do that. So we go down a little bit further, and he in 2012 he ran for Senate. In 2014 he ran for the House of Representatives. In 2016 he ran for the House of Representatives. And every time he was, he lost. In 2016, he lost by just a little bit, though. He almost won. And then now he's been named the deputy director of the FBI. This is the part that I found hilarious. So his political views and statements. Now, I can get that Wikipedia is going to cover political people and people in a political space, and they're going to have to put some political things in there. The first thing that comes up is my entire life now is all about owning libs. That's it. That's a quote from Dan Bongino in 2018. That's the first thing that they put up there. So he's now the second in command of the FBI, and his entire goal in life is owning liberals. We're going to keep going on. He called the investigation of the possible Trump-Russia collusion a total scam. Something we now know was a total scam. So even now, even today, I'm scrolling live. This isn't on a different screenshot or screen share and things like that. Even now, Wikipedia is trying to lean a narrative that this Russia collusion wasn't something that we just made up out of thin air, even though it was. He's now the deputy director of the FBI. In 2018, he challenged some of the claims that the FBI had spied on the 2016 campaign, and the claims that he'd been fooled by the Department of Justice. This guy, he's now in charge of the Secret Service, or second in charge of the FBI. I'm going to point out just a couple of months ago, towards the end of the Biden regime, he testified to Congress about things with the Secret Service. Why would he testify about things with the Secret Service? Because the current president, during the presidential run, they had an attempted assassination, not once, but twice, for sure, that we know about. And potentially there's some other times that they were thwarted that we don't necessarily know about, that necessarily was completely public and all that stuff. He's now in second command of the FBI. He testified in front of Congress that, hey, I worked for the Secret Service. I know that what we're doing wasn't what we're supposed to be doing. I know there's questions that we need to be asking. These are very tough questions. Why do we not have what he believes and what the American people and everybody else, and I think too, should be easy answers to some very tough questions? But when they don't have the easy answers to what should be a tough question, well, that's why it's a tough question, is because they don't have what should be a softball answer. He is now the deputy director for the FBI. He's just been named this 2 days ago. So we've got a little bit of time for this to kind of roll out to see what's going to happen. We wanted to put something out. So we're going to put this out today for tomorrow. Things that we're watching for tomorrow. The Kash Patel being brought in and being nominated, and is now the director of the FBI. He said before about, hey, we want to release the stuff. I'm all for it. We've told you before two things. The reason why they don't want to release any of this stuff is because either A, they're still using it, or B, it affects money. And we talked about Doge and everything that's come about. Look at all the people that are squirming, and they're squirming because you're affecting their money. As soon as you start affecting their money, you find out who is causing all these problems. So we're watching Elon for tomorrow. We're watching Kash Patel for tomorrow. We're watching more Dan Bongino tomorrow. What is his plans? What's going to come out? I do want to read before we get too far away from this. This is his statement. I'm reading it here from Twitter. Dan Bongino has accepted the position of Deputy Director of the FBI as part of the broader effort to restore public trust and reinforce the integrity of one of America's most critical institution. Bongino extends his deepest gratitude to President Donald Trump, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and FBI Director Kash Patel for their trust and confidence. His decision to step into this role is driven solely by a commitment to serve and belief that law enforcement and national security institutions must be strengthened. I have spent my life in public service, beginning with the NYPD and continuing through my time with the Secret Service agent, working under both Republican and Democratic administrators. I have witnessed firsthand the dedication and sacrifice of the men and women that these agencies serve with integrity and honor, Bongino said. This role is not about politics. It's about professionalism, leadership, and accountability. Bongino brings his diverse body of experience from his years of protecting the American presidents, investigating national security threats, and working within the trenches of law enforcement. His focus is on supporting the good men and women of the FBI who are committed to the mission. Quote, there are dedicated people in the FBI who take their oath up to the Constitution very seriously. They deserve leadership that will back them up, protect the mission, and ensure they can do their jobs, Bongino said. Bongino will work alongside Attorney General Bondi and Director Patel to implement President Trump's agenda to keep the homeland safe and ensure the FBI remains an institution Americans can trust. Quote, my career has always been about service, and I'm here to work. I'm here to lead, and I'm here to ensure the Americans and law enforcement institutions uphold values and integrity that they were built upon, Bongino concluded. So that was a statement he put out on Twitter. That was yesterday morning at 6:23 my local time. So we're watching this. I would like to see more. The only way that you get accountability in the media, I want you to understand, the media is going to report this as this is retaliation. This is retaliation. This is retaliation. This is retaliation. And I'll say, okay, I'll ask you, okay, is it retaliation if the crime is actually committed and you hold them accountable? It's retaliation if you only hold one side of the fence accountable, but you don't hold the other side of the fence. We're now holding the other side of the fence accountable. That's not retaliation. That's accountability. And that's how you start to build trust and confidence back into these institutions. Because I have personal friends that work with some of these agencies that we talk about, these alphabet agencies. And I talk with them almost on a daily basis. Like, these are people that I know that are close personal friends, that if I had children, I would trust them with my children, and their children have been trusted if something happens with me. I know that they're good people within these agencies. I also understand that there are people that are not elected, that are in supervisory positions, that have taken advantage of this. We need to understand that we elect people to represent us. And when people are in positions of power that don't represent you, that's not what we stand for. That's not what the Constitution stands for. That's not what this country stands for. So now we're trying to get back to what the country was started on, what we have a Constitution for. So we're watching all that. Another thing that came out late yesterday, Dan Crenshaw said some very not nice things as he was ending a podcast about Tucker Carlson. And yes, I've been sent that probably 7 or 8 different times. We're definitely going to be covering that tomorrow as well, a little bit more in depth. I will have Eric back with me tomorrow. And then we will have a case for Friday. I'm not sure what case we have. I think he said we might have a guest or not have a guest on. I'm not sure. But also, before I get off here, I would like to acknowledge all of the people in the chat, because we actually have quite a few people in the chat this morning. Greg from Beth and Greg. The bar is open with Beth and Greg. I had a brain fart. Great podcast. If you just want a nice, not to get too far off in a tangent, if you want just a nice podcast to listen to, if you need something to put in the background that you pay attention to, but not necessarily pay attention to, and you don't want to listen to, Backstreet Boys and, the 90s hip hop anymore, bars open with Beth and Greg. You'll learn something. I learn something every time I watch. I learn something about something that's in pop culture and the news, something that other people are talking about. I'm awesome. I'm so happy that they're part of the family and the Fox Media family, because they really do bring a different aspect, but they bring that back into the pop culture and stuff. So good morning to Greg, Tyler S, Loren. Here we scroll a bit further. We've got Dustin Neichkins in the chat. So say good morning to everybody. I didn't want this one to be too long. I was hoping this wouldn't be too long, but it wouldn't be too short, because I didn't want to just sit here and ramble, because that's what I do sometimes when I'm by myself. So Eric, go check his book out. Again, it is Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story by former police officer Eric Tansey. I want to say that reading it now, as I'm reading it, it's therapeutic for me as well. So if you're in law enforcement and you're trying to transition and you're trying to figure out like how some of like stories from the military, how that's going to there's a story in there for everyone. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to question your sexuality, maybe a couple of times. You might be tased in a vagina. I don't know. It might just happen 2 or 3 times. Go out there, get the pre-order, because it's going to, I cannot stress enough how much those numbers will help us in the long run on the back end, that the next couple of these meetings with the book people, they'll be able to say, look, the numbers are there. The people are there. They want us there. Let's get them out on tour. Let's get them done. Dustin said he's got the pre-order done. I'll make sure that Eric knows. I think you did talk to Eric in the messages and stuff, but anyway, do something nice for someone. And as G.I. Joe said, knowing is half the battle. And if you didn't know that Kash Patel is the F around and Dan Bongino is the find out side of the coin, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. I'll see you guys later. Catch you next one. See ya. I guess I have to click the button so we get to see me dance a little bit longer.